capital. $2.6 billion. It gives twice what oil and gas gives to our political leaders. They have become indentured servants for this industry. It gives 4 times, a reporter said to me last night, yeah, it's like the military-industrial complex. And I said, it's worse. The pharmaceutical industry gives 4 times to our politicians to lobbying, what defense and aeronautic contractors do. So this is an industry that has complete possession of our politicians on Capitol Hill. So the politicians are now no longer protecting the public. The regulatory agency has become captured by the industry it's supposed to regulate. CDC is now a sock puppet for the pharmaceutical industry and is representing the mercantile interests of that industry, promoting that rather than our public health as their primary priority. The lawyers and the courts that would also form a barrier, a check and balance against the power of this very, very wealthy industry are also gone, because the pharmaceutical industry has used its political clout on Capitol Hill to get laws passed to make it illegal for people who've been injured by vaccines to sue the company that injured them. So there's no discovery, there's no depositions, there's no document searches. You can go to the vaccine court, which is essentially a secret court that doesn't advertise. Even the vaccine court estimates that it's so little known that less than 10% of the people who are injured by vaccines and couldn't make claims ever show up there. And when you get there, you're not suing the industry that poisoned you. You're suing the federal government. And nevertheless, they paid out $3 billion to thousands and thousands of people. Who've been injured by the vaccine. So you have the politicians that have been neutralized, you have the regulatory agency neutralized, you have the courts and the lawyers gone. What's left? The press. Well, the pharmaceutical industry is the single biggest advertiser on television, radio, and newspapers. They give between $3.4 and $5.6 billion a year in advertising. They are now the #1 advertiser on network news. So you will not see a network news show covering this issue honestly, ever. And you guys all know that. And there's this kind of Kafkaesque censorship in the news about having a reasonable debate about this issue, a fact-based debate. So instead, we hear a lot of name-calling. We hear people, because they can't debate us on the merits, so they call us anti-vaccine, they call us hysterical, they call us conspiracy theorists. And I want people to think, when they use that term anti-vax, parents, they should be thinking of a parent with a disabled child, because that's who these people are. I want to say one other thing. This is this movement that calls you anti-vax is the most misogynistic movement that I have seen in my lifetime. It is a movement that is anti-mother and it is anti-woman. And the names that I hear coming out of people's mouths about hysterics and refrigerator moms and all of this in our major newspapers like the New York Times is extraordinary. And these women, I want to say something about them before I sit down. I was raised around extraordinary women. My grandmother, Rose Kennedy, who was the mother of 3 senators and the mother of a president, my aunt Eunice Shriver, who started Special Olympics, my mother, and many, many others. But I have never met women like the ones that I've met in this movement. They are articulate, they're eloquent, they're pharmacists, they're doctors, they're lawyers. They have read the science, they know they have read the science, they know what the science said. They can destroy any of these politicians if they were given the ability to debate. They are never given that forum. They are doubly traumatized because they go home to a child and the CDC is up there saying, oh, well, we don't know if this is an epidemic. They will not call it an epidemic. They will not call it a crisis. They call it a health concern. a serious health concern. So, and they say, well, maybe we're just noticing kids who are this sick, and that for the first time, but that they are, that they've been around all the time. And I would ask you, where is this population of adults that is wearing football helmets and diapers, and that is nonverbal? They don't exist. They don't exist in the 30-year-old cohort. They only exist in our children. And they're in school now, and they're costing this country $400 billion a year, and they're about to hit our social safety nets, and they're going to collapse it. And it's going to become a concern for all Americans now then. I'm sorry.
It's too hot.
But anyway, and these women and these parents are traumatized by what happened to their children. They're people who are bankrupted. They have a 75% divorce rate. They can't go out at night. They can't leave their child with a babysitter. They are tied at home, and they don't have time for politics, and they have been politically invisible until this moment. But now they're coming out because they see another threat that they are going to be triply traumatized. They're traumatized by what happened to their child. They're traumatized by the doctors and the public health organizations and the press who told them that what they saw isn't true.
Right.
What they know to be true is not true. And they've been dismissed, and now they're being told that no matter what happens, no matter what they know about their child's health, that all of the barriers between that pharmaceutical company and them are now being taken away, and now they're going to remove the mother from the equation as well. So, and that's what this is about. Well, let me repeat that. All of the barriers that are meant to protect our children, the government, the lawyers, the regulatory agency, and the press, the checks and balances in our democratic system that are supposed to stand between corporate power and our little children have been removed. And there's only one barrier left, and that's the parents. And